Okay, this video focuses around how to turn in your homework. So one of the first assignments that we have in our course shell here is this W3 pretest. Now we talked about W3 Schools a little bit earlier, and W3 Schools is that website. They're the ones that set the rules for the internet. And one of the things they have on their websites are these quizzes. Now, you're like, oh no, it's the first day of class, first week of class, and you're making us take a quiz. What I'm trying to do is basically establish for you a baseline of your skill levels coming in. I know some people have coded before and might think they know everything or might know a little bit, but there's always a lot to learn. And I'm going to have you test on each one of these technologies and then give me the results. There's no better score for getting a good grade or not. Here in class, I've seen a pretty wide range of scores, and I've also had some people get into what I would call the passing range, which I say is 70% and above. I took the quiz myself by following these links, and for the first one, I scored a 95%. I knew exactly the two I got wrong, but it has a next button, but it can't go back. It's like, I can't fix it? Oh, darn, you know. But that was my score. So part of your assignment here is, well, part of it is to understand what the assignment is. And of course, you do that by reading the assignment description. But what I do with these assignments, I always, like in green and in bold at the top of the assignment, I put down what the main objective is. So the objective here is take the following online quizzes and report your results. Now, I have links to the 3 quizzes. I completed the first. And then it says, once you have completed each quiz, take screenshots of the results, insert them into a Word document, and submit. So this is how you would do that. Assuming that you're using a Windows operating system, which I assume most of our students are, probably 90%, you can use a tool called the snipping tool. So I'm hitting my start menu. I hit the start key on my keyboard. And then in the start menu, now I'm running Windows 10. If you have Windows 8, it will look different, and this will be full screen. If you are running Windows 7, you'll just get the one little menu that pops up. Same difference, works exactly the same way, same tool, same on all the operating systems. I'm just going to start typing S, N, well, see, I just typed S and it came up right away, but this is the tool we're looking for. It's not one that typically shows up in the start menus easily. You have to kind of dig for it. But if you type the name of it, it'll come up. So you execute that tool, and it just brings up a little box like this. Now, before you do your screen grab, you want to have on the screen the thing you want to capture. So you can see in the background, I do have this result page that I want to show. I have my snipping tool sitting here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to click New. You see how the screen kind of grays out a little bit, and you got the little crosshairs? And I'm going to place it at like the top left corner here. Click, drag. Yeah, that probably is good right there. And then when I've got what I want, I just release, and it'll show up in the window here. Now, if you were so inclined, you could go ahead and hit the little save icon. And I'm just going to give you a tip. You don't really need to do that unless you really want an archive of your images of all your screenshots. I think it's a waste of screen space, or disk space, I should say. So instead, I'm going to click this little copy button. And then I'm going to go over to Microsoft Word. And I'm going to create a blank document. And I'm going to entitle it probably like W3 Pretests. And you know, actually it's probably good to make that like big and bold, so I'm going to make it bold, make it a little bigger. And then I'm maybe going to do something like this. HTML test. And then I copied that image, right? I hit that copy button. Now I'm going to just do a paste. So you can do Control-V to paste, right-click, paste, whatever works for you. And there's the results. Pretty simple. Right? This is about what I'm asking for. All right, and then of course you can do the other quizzes, but one of the other parts of the assignment is Add comments describing your results and create a list of topics you need to work on. So I got a 95%. I'm going to put down, I don't think I need to learn that much more. And you know what? That's a lie. You know why? Because this stuff changes all the time. Welcome to IT. In the orientation class, I told you that, right? If you sit still with your skills, in a year or two, you're out of a job, right? If you want a job that doesn't change, what would not change? Flipping burgers, I mean, that kind of stays pretty consistent, right? So make your choice. But, you might say something like, I need to learn more about, got a whole lot of stuff because I got a really bad score. And that would be a fine answer. All right, so using your time on your own, I'm going to have you guys, I don't want you to do all the quizzes here in class because it's going to chew up too much time, but you got the point of how to do the first one. So if you created the document, you would go ahead and save your document and save it somewhere where you can find it. People working here in the lab, how many of you brought flash drives with you? How many of you are going to put your document on the flash drive? You like that? Like, all right. At least I have one person here laughing with me. It makes me feel better. I'm going to teach you that those flash drives have gone the way of the floppy disk. Not that I don't have them and use them myself, but do not use that as primary storage. Please. Every week, we find more flash drives left in the classroom. I've seen people lose entire portfolios. I told the orientation people about this. One person at the Art Institute I was teaching, all 4 years of her academic career on one hard drive. Went to the bathroom, came back, gone. No backups. No, nothing put in the cloud, gone. So what's the better way to work? If you're using a school machine, save it locally. You want to put it on your flash drive, that's fine. But do something even as simple as emailing it to yourself. I wouldn't prefer that, but you could do that. The other thing that you could do is you could do a save as, and you're going to see that on my machine, I don't want to do that right now, thank you very much. I don't want to do that right now, thank you very much. See, I have all these different OneDrives and SharePoint drives. Okay, so I just want to store it on my own machine, but watch what I do when I store it. See right here, I got a Google Drive folder, and some of you might already be keen to this. So I got my Google Drive folder, I'm going to click Save. But I have the Google Drive software running in my system tray, or I did just a second ago. There it is. And I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, but Google Drive is attached to your email account. So if you are logged into your gateway email and you come up to this apps icon here, you'll see that Google Drive is located right there. You may use this already and know all about it, and you may not, right? But what you should do is you should come in here, you should make a new folder, maybe call it Web 1, something like that. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and do it, even though I'll delete it in a few minutes. Web 1, so I created my folder, Web 1. You can see the folder. I'm going to double click that folder and go into it. It's empty. But then I'm going to find that file in my file system, wherever the heck I put it. I forget what we called it. There it is, pretests. And from my local file system, I'm just going to grab it and drag and drop it right into Drive. And you guys might know this, I don't mean to patronize you on it, but a lot of people don't know this. And there it is. Now, when I take my laptop and I throw it into Lake Michigan, or I drop it on the ground and somebody runs it over with their car, or like my daughter did once, she used it as a trampoline. Not kidding. She was like 3 years old. Look, Daddy. Just had to replace the screen. It still worked. But the whole point is, somebody steals my machine, takes your flash drive, you forgot it somewhere, you know, act of God, lightning strikes, It's now on Google servers and it's not going away. So I can go home, go to my Google Drive, there's my file, no worries. So you see the advantage of doing it this way? You might not be comfortable with putting stuff out in the cloud, but you need to change your mindset. This is the modern world. That's how we work now. I find a way between all the different file sharing or cloud-based storage systems, and you can see them on my machine. I got Google Drive, Creative Cloud, Dropbox, OneDrive, another OneDrive, and I got a couple other services that are also running resident on my system. Between all those services, I have pretty much any of the important files I need to get to and work with available from any device I choose to log into. All of these services, like for example, when I bring up Google Drive, and you guys can validate this for me, and you're sitting in your Drive folders, if you do not have Google Drive installed on your machine, you should get something down here that says, install Google Drive, right? Am I right, guys? Yeah, something like that. Now what that does when you install it is it basically runs a system resident component. Sometimes it's bundled up with the Google Chrome browser stuff. Sometimes it sits on its own. So it's always running on your system, but it also creates a folder on your machine. So if I go to my D drive, I think that's where I have it. Nope, I guess I have it on my C drive on this machine. I'll show you where the actual folder is. And the funny thing is I call it a physical folder, even though it's electronic, because it's a folder like any other folder on my machine. So I can just save files directly to it. Once I put a file there, it automatically replicates to the cloud, and then any other machine that's running the software automatically pulls it down. So right now at home, I'm running my Macintosh. If I go to my Google Drive folder on my Mac, that file's already there. Benjamin? Yes, I believe so. But you don't have to install Google Drive. You can actually just bring it up in the browser, and you can just pull stuff in and out when you're sitting at a school machine. Yeah, that's a really good question. The question for those listening to the video was, if you install Google Drive on the school machines here, does it go away when the machine reboots? The answer is yes. I think all the machines reboot automatically at like 10 o'clock or 10:30 at night after classes end. And I did have a student at one time that preferred to use Dropbox, and he'd never carry a drive with him. He'd come to school, install Dropbox, download his stuff, do his work, save it right back to Dropbox, and then just restart the machine and everything went away. That was his way for working. And I thought that was really cool. Now, in terms of these cloud syncing technologies, you do get Google Drive with your school email. In fact, you get a lot of Google applications. But in terms of which cloud-based storage actually works best, Dropbox really blows Google Drive out of the water. So if you really want one that works well, the unfortunate thing is that it has a very limited amount of storage. So if you want a lot of storage, you got to pay for it. A lot of times if you are a cell phone user with certain brands of phone and certain carriers, like for example, I have US Cellular and a Samsung device. If I run Dropbox on here, I think they give me like 50 gigs free storage. I think OneDrive does the same thing, as opposed to like the 2 gigs you get automatically. Yeah, that's a good point too. Jason just mentioned here that Office 365 also has storage. So if you use Microsoft Office in the cloud through a browser, it will automatically save to the cloud. And I know at one time it was unlimited storage, but I think you're right. I think they reduced it now. But it's still like huge, like 100 gigs or terabyte. It's something that you probably will never fill. So, step away from the flash drives, folks. Now, to go back to our example here, if I didn't have Office installed, or if I'm one of those people that just say it's Microsoft, doesn't want to do my work that way, you might opt to come up here while you're in Google Drive and just click New and choose Document, and that brings up Google's document editor. And I know most of you have used this already, but I always run into a couple people that haven't. And I can just do all the same work right here. So you just pasted it in. The only catch is when you turn this in, this is not a Microsoft Doc format. You have to come up here and do File, Download As, Word Document, or PDF. It's got to be one of those two. So if I were to download the Word document, you see how I just downloaded there. Of course, that's not a really good name for a document, untitled, right? But then I would take that file and submit it to Blackboard. And the process for doing that, I'm assuming that you guys are familiar with this, but this is a first semester course. I do get people that have never done this before, so it's not to be patronizing. This is the upload link. So the assignment title, just to show you, and I tend to mark mine in blue so that it's obvious, and I usually have a little thing like that, so you know what's an assignment. So you click on that, and you get to this screen. All right. When you're going to upload a Word file, you're going to choose Attach File, pick whatever file it is, and say Open. So mine was in the root here of my Google Drive. I know it started with a W. There we go. And then that's attached for upload. Now, there is a comments box here as well. If you just want to say, here it is, or everything went great, or something like that, a really quick little message, you put it here. If you have paragraphs to rate me, or want to share links and images in your submission, then you would switch over to Write Submission, and you'll see that when you do that, you get a full-blown, like, you know, more of like a WYSIWYG kind of editor where you can make things bold and style it and stuff like that. You can even drop in HTML and CSS, see the buttons? But if it's more verbose, or if you're submitting a link, this is the way to do it. And I'll show you how to submit links later in the course. But for all intents and purposes, just the document and the comments, if they're brief, will be adequate. You hit Submit, it shows up in Blackboard. If it comes in as a Word document, I just click on your assignment, it pops up in my browser, and it's really easy to grade. When we do web page assignments, very often the way that you'll turn those in is you will give me a link to your work on our live server. So I'm going to give you guys user accounts for the Chronos server, and tonight before we leave, I'll show you how that operates and get you working with it so you get comfortable with it. And that's kind of it in a nutshell, folks. Benjamin, you got a question? Okay. All right, that's going to end this video. And, you know, I will do other videos like this if anybody asks or is not clear on the process. For those of you that are using a Macintosh, and I should probably throw this in, the Macintosh does not have a snipping tool. It has a tool called Grab. And it does essentially the same thing. It's got a little bit different workflow, and there's also a bunch of other free tools that you can get out on the web that do the same thing. I'm always a big believer in use what's in the operating system, why download something. But if you are looking for a third-party tool, one that's really good is Snagit. Greenshot's also a really good tool. Both of them have free versions that you can download. All right, that ends this video.